I swear, guys, the broadcast always starts like 5 seconds before it says it does. So I planned ahead and I smiled for you. So welcome, everybody. Thanks to my peeps who are joining me this afternoon, this Friday afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. Woohoo. I am so excited to have my special guest here with me today, Sean Allen Pratt. Welcome, Sean.
Hello. Oh.
Thanks so much for chatting with me. I know that there's a lot of people are so super interested in audiobook narration, and you are most certainly like one of the best. And it was funny because I was reading your signature, and your signature is like, how many audiobooks and counting? Like over 700, 800, 900? I don't know. What is that?
975.
Oh my gosh. That's a lot. Like, guys, that is just a ton. So tell us a little bit, Sean, because I know everybody wants to, how in goodness gracious name do you record 975 audiobooks? You must love what you do. And you're very efficient too.
Yeah. It's all about time management, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, you go at it every day. I call narrating an audiobook, I refer to it as eating the elephant. You have to do it one forkful at a time. You just start in and you set a certain goal every day. Once you get, as you know, in VO, once you get able to work with the equipment and get your workflow down, then you can say, okay, today I'm going to produce X amount of time on the book. And so you can do it with pretty much pretty good reliability, and you just go at it. And I've been lucky that I started in 96. Soon after, I'm going to say within 4 years or so, 3 years, I went full time. I started narrating almost a book a week, and now I still do a book a week. And by this Christmas, I'm on track to hit 1,000 books.
Wow, that is so impressive. So since 2004, I mean, you have been, right? You have been in this industry a long time, and you most obviously have seen everything evolve. What would you say is, I guess, the best lesson in keeping yourself current and relevant in this industry? Because it's so hard today. Everybody is, oh my gosh, how do I make a living? How do I, so you are certainly a pioneer and have been in the industry a long time and have truly flourished.
One of the ways to keep relevant is understanding how the business model has evolved over time. When I started, of course, it was all on tape, the ancient days of ADAT videotape we used to record on. And it was, there was no Audible. You purchased the books, or got them at the library on CD format or even cassette way back when. And then as things began to evolve with downloads and also social media platforms have become huge. Mm-hmm. Just like any entrepreneur, you've got to let people know you're available for the work. It's that old joke about the tree falling in the forest. If an audiobook narrator does a book and isn't broadcasting the fact that they did that book on social media or got a review or was on a podcast, they don't really exist, except for maybe the few people who might hire them. But I regularly get books now from authors through Facebook and Twitter who see me on those platforms and then reach out and say, hey, I heard you do XYZ book or books. Would you be interested in doing mine? And then we open a conversation and off we go. Mm-hmm. So, staying relevant within the technology and the social platforms.
I think that's great, because I think that is what keeps you busy and keeps you with a lot of work. The fact that you have a great network, you're active on social mm-hmm. media, and you've got a great history and client referrals that come in. So
absolutely.
Talk to us a little bit. One thing that I love about you, I mean, I'm a big fangirl of you. And one thing that I love is that you really obviously you do audiobooks, so you're a really good storyteller, but you come at all of VO, all aspects of VO, not just audiobooks, in terms of being that person who can tell the story and coming at it from an actor's perspective. Tell us a little bit about how that works for you.
Gosh, my specialty now within audiobooks is nonfiction. Okay, so not only do I narrate nonfiction, I also teach nonfiction audiobook technique. And also, that also leads into things like corporate reads and e-learning and so on, but mainly it's nonfiction audiobooks. And I like that because it's a more difficult story to tell, because you don't have funny voices, and you don't have zombies, and you don't have romance scenes and so on. And you just have the author's voice, just one voice, telling us their intellectual argument in a logical progression to reveal their truth in that book, whatever it's about, whether it's about Bitcoin or how to raise your kids or how to start your own business. And the one thing that all audiobooks have in common is that they all, when we think of an audiobook we've listened to that we liked, the one thing we can all say that they had in common was that they were entertaining. Okay? And so in fiction, that's I think, a pretty easy match, because a piece of written fiction is designed to be entertaining as well. So it's already geared toward me. If I record it, my job is made a little bit easier because it's already geared that way. But in nonfiction, it's not geared toward that. And so to me, what I like about nonfiction is the difficulty of doing the story well, of telling it well. And so I've over the years, I've had to develop not only a little bag of tricks, but also understanding how nonfiction is written and how the structure of it informs the read. Just like you're doing when you're doing commercial VO, you look for where does the client sell the product, where are they explaining the product, who's the audience, and all those things. The same principles apply in their own way, to nonfiction audiobooks. And so at the end of the day, what I like about it is the challenge of making it entertaining, but also just the subject matter. I'm doing a book right now for Blackstone Audio on Chinese poetry. I'm reading in Chinese, thank you very much. But, and then right after that, I'm doing a Western. And then right after that, I'm doing a book for Christian Audio. And then after that, I'm doing a business book for Gildan Media. The variety of topics I get to narrate, they never get boring to me, ever. Yeah. And so that just keeps it fresh for storytelling.
Well, I think, you know what, that is such a parallel to corporate. I do a ton of corporate, and that's kind of my specialty. And that's what I love about that as well. I love that you said that there's the challenge. There's also, I think there's the challenge in finding a story. There's a story in everything, and finding, the perspective from the author, right? Or whoever's writing corporate copy, and being able to bring that to life in a way that's interesting and meaningful to the people that are listening to it. And it's, our job becomes that much more difficult, because it's not just a 30-second or a 60-second format. It is much longer. And so I think our job is even that much more important to keep it in entertaining and informational and interesting for the listener. So I love that. So I'm excited because you teach as well, in addition to narrating over, what is it now, 900 books? Close to 1,000 books.
10,000. It's 10,000 books. It's just fun.
There you go. It's 20 billion books. So in addition to narrating 20 billion books, you also coach. And I love that. I mean, I've had you as a VO Peeps guest director before. I love your style. I love your methodology. I am excited to have you again coming up on the 22nd. Why do I always forget the date? So sorry, but coming up on
weekend. It's next Saturday.
Next weekend, guys. Sean is going to be with us, teaching us about nonfiction audiobooks and how to tell the story and get the story. Tell us a little bit about what we're going to work on in that class, Sean.
Yeah, sure. We're going to go get some fundamental building blocks that I start off with when I'm working with my students and the authors that I also coach when they're going to be narrating their material. We're going to be talking about some fundamental ideas where we can deconstruct the text. All the clues. There's a sort of an old chestnut in the theater about doing Shakespeare that says all the clues as to how to play a scene in Shakespeare are actually in the text itself if you just learn to look carefully enough. And all the clues to do nonfiction are actually in the text itself if you just learn to look carefully enough. Now, granted, I can't tell you everything in one class, but I've selected some what I think are the cornerstone ideas. We're going to examine how to find the author's intellectual idea, the core idea, and then how to bring that out when we read the piece. We're going to talk about something. It's a concept that I once again I stole from the theater, where when we're performing a monologue or something like that, we often, when we have a new topic that we're talking about, let's say I'm doing a monologue and I have, in the beginning of the monologue, I'm talking about my father, the king, and in the middle, I talk about a war I'm going to be involved in an army, and the last bit's a woman I'm in love with. So those are 3 different topics in the monologue. And what I do is, every topic I talk about, I have to have a different feeling for it. I must, as a character. Well, authors do that too. If they decide they're going to tell us how they feel about the topic they're discussing, how they feel about topic A is different from topic B and C and so on. Well, we have a nice little tidy thing that shows us where they change their ideas, and that's called a paragraph. So we know that from paragraph to paragraph, depending on the topic, the author's feelings about that are going to change slightly. And so it's a wonderful acting challenge to look at the language and go, oh, the author's feeling, he's sort of sarcastic here in this paragraph. Oh, in this one, oh, I see, he's really outraged. Oh, in this one, oh, he's being silly, right? And so we're going to be looking at that concept. We're going to be doing a concept that I've created called the 4 Voices of Nonfiction. Depending on what we're seeing on the page as a narrator, right? Whether it's a subchapter heading or an enumeration, or we're quoting somebody, or we're teaching something or commenting on it, all of those are in slightly different voices or characters, you might say. And we use those a lot of, I know in corporate narration we do this a lot too, but your ability to be able to craft that voice or that character as you're reading through the material helps the listener understand what it is you're seeing on the page. So that's just a few of the things that I'm going to be covering. And of course, while I'm doing the class, Anne's going to be dialing in people to come in and work with me live so everyone can watch, right? Is that correct?
Absolutely. We have 15 participants slots available, and we also have audit slots available. So if you guys are interested in this, really, honestly, Sean is a busy guy, and it took me a while to get him back. So if you are interested in this, this won't help you just for nonfiction audiobooks. This is going to be, I think, core skills that are going to help you in any type of voiceover, really. Being able to extract the story out of that, and being able to add some emotion and flavor and interest for people that are listening to you. So I think the skill set that you're going to learn from this is going to be amazing. We have 15 participant spots. We have we have audit spots available as well. Diana actually put the link in the comments below where you guys can go and sign up. It will be on Saturday, next Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So make sure you sign up quick so you get yourself a spot. And I'm just trying to think. We're going to actually be sending scripts to you a couple of days beforehand. Usually I ask Sean to give me a set of scripts. So any of you that sign up will get script availability. We'll record it. You guys will get a chance to have a link to the recording so you can review it at any time afterwards as well. So super excited.
There's also a few articles that I've included with the scripts that Anne will be giving you that you can take and read later that sort of break down the concepts so you can refer to them in print later and archive them for yourself. But and also Anne brought up something really important. It's not just nonfiction audiobooks, it's other forms of nonfiction narration. So for those of you who are doing e-learning, the 4 voices is critical. All of my students, almost all of my students, also do e-learning and corporate narration because it is by default nonfiction. So learning about these ideas, I know anecdotally from my students and also my own work in those 2 genres, that my ability to use these ideas in my reads helps get me more work and helps the work that I do more interesting and entertaining. And I know that seems like a weird thing to use the word entertaining with e-learning, but think about it. That old cliche, when you're laughing, you're learning. Well, if you can do something that at least entertains the listener while they're going through whatever the thing is on their computer screen, they're more likely to remember it. And so in the end, if you can do that, you've done your job. As a narrator.
Absolutely. Sean, thank you so much for joining us today. I cannot wait until next Saturday. Yeah. So guys, I just want to see if there's any questions. Feel free to put them in the comments below. Again, you guys, that's going to be next Saturday, the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can sign up using the link that Diana sent in the comments. And
it's the 21st. Just to be clear, it's Saturday the 21st. So
honestly, you think I would know my own day? I've been promoting this for a few weeks now. You think I would know that? Forgive me. 21st. Thank you, Sean, for looking that up. All right. So you guys have a wonderful rest of your Friday. Sean, thanks again for joining us. And I cannot wait to work with you next week.
Yeah, thank you very much. Can't wait for it.
Awesome.